We generate millions of views per month. We produce probably 300 pieces of content every month. And I'm about to break down the exact formula we use to go viral, to gain authority, to gain followers, to monetize our personal brands. And when I say our, I'm talking about myself and all the clients that we work with. Now, I've never made a video like this before, but there's enough out there for us to all win. So let's get into this framework. If you want to create content that gets seen by millions of people, that gets shared by millions of people, that gets commented on by millions of people, then you want to understand the Triple S framework. Now, this is the exact framework I use for my own personal brand and for all of the clients that we work with, whether that's CEOs, doctors, teachers, lawyers. We use this exact same framework for all their pieces of content. This also applies whether you're doing written or video content. Now, if you don't believe me, you can go fact check my own profiles. I'm a player in this field as well. I don't only just serve our clients. And last month alone, my own personal brand generated 10 million organic views. So I might know a little bit of something when it comes to personal branding and putting out content on the internet. Let's break down what this Triple S framework is all about. So it is one of these frameworks that is super easy to remember, but I'm telling you, my friend, it is super powerful. When I break this down initially, it might sound pretty cliche, but please watch this video in its entirety because I'm gonna break down each one of these S's and tips, tricks, metrics that you should be measuring to make sure that you're staying on par. Also, if you like this stuff and you want more tools, I actually put together a whole free course, and you'll find that link somewhere around here where you can sign up and get access to that. Triple S, what does it stand for? I've held you here long enough. It stands for stop, stay, share. Stop, stay, share. Stop, stay, share. Every time I break down one of these frameworks, I want to make a rap to it so bad, but my rapping days are long behind me, so I'll save you guys. I'll save you guys today. So anyways, we created this framework because so many people, myself, our clients included, were focused so much on followers and likes and comments when we were analyzing content to create, when we were pushing out net new content. And we started to see like that wasn't really the driver as to if a piece of video was gonna go viral or even a written post was gonna go viral. And let me be clear here when I'm talking about virality, right? I am not one of those folks that loves vanity metrics, but I do love impact. And so when I say virality, or when I'm talking about going viral, what I'm really trying to say is that our pieces of content got in front of millions of people so that we could impact the lives of millions of people, right? That's really why I want to go viral, not for any other vanity metrics. But what we started to see was that it wasn't the likes and the followers or even the comments that was leading to virality. It was a lot of the metrics that we're about to talk about in this Triple S framework. The first S you need to understand is stop. Whether it's a written piece of content or a video, a short form video or a long form video, you have to optimize. The number one thing you need to do is optimize to get that viewer or that reader, subscriber to actually stop on your piece of content. Here's the thing, right? I have my phone here. All we're doing on our phones throughout the day, whether it's a LinkedIn or Instagram or TikTok, is just scrolling. And so our first job as creators is to actually get that person to stop. Now, something that I like to do to get people to stop is use one of the 5 C's, at least one of the 5 C's in my hook. My hook can be for my video or the first 2 lines of my written piece of content. So what are the 5 C's? And really, it's just an emotion that you want to either pull out of your reader or your viewer or something that you want to play into. The 5 C's are confusion, controversy, conflict, curiosity, and contrast. Those 5 C's I always forget, so just write them down somewhere so you can go back to them just like I did. For example, let's say I'm making a LinkedIn post. The wrong way to go about this hook to get people to stop is to say, hey, here's how to grow your brand. Something that I might say instead is, your personal brand isn't about you. And that second line is generating some sort of emotion where that reader's like, what do you mean it's not about me, right? Where they want to click see more so they can start gaining that clarity. And so again, in these hooks, whether again written or video, we want to evoke this emotion. And then when they click see more or they go into the second 2 or 3 of our video, they start getting clarity into what that hook was making them feel. The other thing to think about when we are trying to stop people is the visual hook. So we just talked a little bit about the verbal hook, whether that's a video, again, or the 2 lines in your written post, but enough people aren't talking about what your actual setting looks like. Or again, for a written post, what the visuals of that written post look like. And guys, I'm here to tell you that does matter. A lot of y'all don't think about your visual hook on your written posts, and it shows. So if you're one of the video video girlies, and I'm using girlies very gender neutral, I want you to really analyze what your setting looks like. Are you doing an interesting angle? Is the lighting good? Are you wearing a bright shirt, right? Play around with whatever feels super authentic to you, but be intentional about your visual hook. You wanna make sure your lighting is on point, but even more so if you have something interesting to throw in the background, like you'll see behind me, I have lights going, I have some art behind me, right? I have some art that you can't even really see back there, right? So if I was being even a little bit more intentional about my visual hook, I might put that somewhere where you can actually see it, just because it's a pretty bright thing that, you know, might draw people in. But I want you guys to be super conscious about your visual hooks. Now for my written content, folks, and again, I do both, so I can talk to both. I want you guys to be intentional about what it looks like to see your first 2 lines plus the photo if you're using one. Like, how does that look? I like to use platform like Taplio, I think it's called, or Authored Up, right? So I can even see what my post visually looks like before hitting publish. Also, short sentences. We want the reader to be able to see our post, whether it's on mobile or on desktop. We want them to see our post and not feel like they're about to read a dissertation. So even if you go look at my LinkedIn, you'll see I like to use a lot of short sentences, arrows, lots of big line breaks. All of that is for the visual hook. Now, the second S is called stay. Now that we understand how to stop the viewer, right, whether it's through one of the 5 C's or our visual hooks, we need the viewer or reader to actually stay and consume the entirety of our post or our video. And if we get somebody to click see more on one of our written posts or stay beyond 5 seconds on one of our short form videos, 30 seconds for long form, the algorithm starts favoring you and starts saying, okay, Casey must have made something that's pretty good. Let's keep pushing it to more people. So that's what we want to optimize for. Now, the number one way to optimize to get somebody to stay is to do a little storytelling. And this video is probably a bad example of this because I do need to just get this information out pretty fast to y'all. But if I was taking my own advice, I probably would have started this own video with a personal story about how I was struggling to get out of my corporate job until I started growing my personal brand. And once I started growing my personal brand and putting out content, then that led to me opening up an agency and having clients right off the bat and scaling to 7 figures in 7 months. And then I started to look around even more and say, okay, I need to help other folks do this because this could change the world, right? And then now I'm here running this agency and here's one of the big frameworks we use, right? I would have started this video intentionally, probably with like a 7-minute story. Why we love stories to get people to stay is because human psychology, once humans start a story, they want to finish it, right? Which is why we get so bummed when we're watching TV and they have those cliffhangers, or we're watching a series. I like Married at First Sight and all these reality shows, or we're watching one of these series and they stop, right? And we want to watch the episode and the next episode immediately. It's because our brains need to finish a story. And so the better that we get at storytelling, whether it's through B-roll content or written content or long form content, the better we get at storytelling, the more we're gonna not only hook people in, but get them to stay and complete the video. The other thing that you have to get really good at to make people stay is simplification. I don't know why I just did it like that, but I need you guys to really start simplifying. Now, this is something that I have to tell my clients over and over. Our clients are experts in what they do. They're also experts in themselves. They're experts in their own mannerisms and their own little sayings. And so whenever we're sitting down with the client, whether they're telling a story or they're telling some authority building content, we always have to simplify it down. Now, we're sitting there with our clients to help them do that. But when you go to your home or to your bedroom or to your office tomorrow and start making some content or writing up some content, I want you to remember, make it so simple that a second grader could read it, understand it, and see, you know, what those takeaways were. If you want to use a resource, I really like the Hemingway app. I actually don't know if it's a mobile app. I use it on desktop mostly, but you can throw your script in there, right? If you are doing a video or if you're doing written content, you can just throw it in there and it'll tell you the grade level at which your writing is. I like second grade level because it's easy to read, easy to comprehend for all, but I would not go any higher. If you are above second grade, I wouldn't go any higher than a 4th grade level using that Hemingway resource. And now for the last S. Now that you understand how to make readers or viewers stop and stay, now I need you to understand how to get them to share. But before we go into share and why it's important. I need to break down the algorithm a little bit for you guys and why we even prioritize these 3 S's in the ways that we do. This is gonna make sense, complete sense, for this third S, share. Now, if we take a step back here and we look at these algorithms, right? And sometimes I even hesitate to say this word because I get so many excuses, like the algorithm doesn't like me, I'm shadow banned, right? So many different things that we see. But the one thing I always want to tell people is, Gary Vee says it all the time, it's probably not the algorithm, your content probably sucks, right? Because if we think about the algorithm in these platforms, the algorithm is really just optimized to give viewers and consumers something that they might like, right? And so if we make content that people might like, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, they're going to help us out and get our content to more people. These platforms want people to stay on their platform. And so if I put out a really good piece of content that so many people are engaging with and reading or watching, better believe Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram is going to share that to more people so that they can keep more people interacting and engaging on their platforms, right? It's just that simple. And so if we can start to understand truly how the algorithm works and not all this other BS that a lot of people try to scare y'all with or feed y'all, if we can understand truly how the algorithm works, then we can also start to see why S, share, is the most important of the vanity metrics, whether it's likes, comments, any of those things. Shares is the number one metric that I want you guys to study. And also from the videos that we've studied, right? And maybe it's only the couple hundred videos that we put out every month. The ones that get shared the most are the ones that win. And I mean win from the views and impact standpoint. How can I even quantify impact? Because we get videos sometimes for some of our clients or even myself, we'll get videos or posts that get tons of views. They might get millions of views, 10 million views, right? But they won't lead to any followers. And so for me, that's a signal, hey, this content was engaging or entertaining or funny, but it really wasn't impactful, right? Not a lot of folks saw that piece of content and actually came over to follow. But when we optimize for shares, we start seeing, okay, hey, here's a post with 1 million views. Maybe it's not 10 million, but it got 1 million views and we got 100,000 followers off of that. That's a pretty good post that we want to keep optimizing for. That means, hey, we had some really good packaging, plus we made some impact because people wanted more. They came over, they saw our profiles, and they wanted to follow us. We want to get people sharing our content. Again, whether it's video or written, we want to get people to share. The algorithms are going to say, hey, Casey must have just put out something really good. And not only are people stopping and staying, reading the entire post or watching the entire video, not only are they doing that, but they're also sharing it, whether it's in a group chat or sharing it to their stories, right? And once the platform starts seeing, oh, they're sharing it as well, they're gonna start pushing that more because now more people are sharing it to their friends or their community, which are gonna in turn bring more people onto the platform and or keep people on the platform longer. And so we want to optimize for something that is shareable. The thing that I always tell our team when we're even making content is think about the end viewer, the end consumer of this piece of content. Think about when they finish this piece of content, what do they get out of it? As humans, we are selfish, right? We don't just want to just see you vacationing and seeing different things. Maybe we might want to see it, but we're not going to share that stuff, right? And so whenever we're optimizing for shares, we start to say, what would a viewer get out of this? I think it was Nicholas Cole say, for who so that, right? For who so that. Who am I making this video for so that they can do what? And so even if it is one of our clients taking a vacation, we may now frame that piece of written content or that video in a way that has some takeaways for the viewer. One of our clients went to the south of France recently, right? Took great videos, had a lot of cool lessons and ideas from that. And so from both the written perspective and the video perspective, we posted content about the south of France trip. We told stories about that person's travels, but at the end, we always had some takeaway for the viewer. Optimizing for better teams, finally being able to vacation and make time for vacation and family after now they're well into their 50s and 60s and regrets they have around that. And so we're always framing it not just as personal stories, but a personal story mixed with something for the viewer. And that led to a lot of shares. People sharing it with their spouses, people sharing it with their friends, people sharing it for themselves and like, this is me and I want to get better, right? And so I want you guys to always think about that right before you hit publish. Understand what is the viewer, what is the reader going to get from this, and how can I optimize this in a way that they would share it. All right, so now let's bring it all together. Triple S framework, you got it. Let's remember it. Stop, stay, share. Again, I want you to understand the 5 C's. I want you to understand your visual hooks to get people to stop. Then I want you to understand storytelling and simplification to get people to stay. Then the share, I want you to undo your own selfishness. I want you to put yourself in the shoes of the viewer or the reader or the consumer and saying, what are they getting out of this? How do I optimize that they would share this in a group chat or to their stories, right? If you start nailing that, if you understand that and you start nailing that, you're on your way to getting in front of millions of people, but not just for vanity metrics, but to impact them so you can change lives. And also, I believe that income follows impact. And so we're not shy over here talking about growing your pockets as well. If you like this, let me know, leave a comment. I know only about 100, 200 of you guys will see this, but keep letting me know what questions you have. I want to keep making these resources. And frankly, I love YouTube because it's one of the only corners on the internet where there's only a few of us over here and I just get to be myself and ramble and say the wrong words and y'all don't give me too much heat yet. So I love it over here. Let's keep vibing out, keep commenting, keep letting me know what different things would be helpful for you guys. And I'll be back soon with another one. Peace.